Here is the strange truth about the most disturbing show on TV. It is made by one of the giggliest casts alive, and the best breakdowns never made the reels. This is a show that traffics in the bleakest, cruelest, most graphic material on television. And to survive filming it, the cast does the opposite of method. They break constantly. The creator, Eric Kripke, built a set where finding the absurdity in the horror is practically the job. You have already seen the viral clips, the milk jug, the blood-soaked grins cracking into laughter. Those are the surface. We went digging for the ones buried in convention panels, radio interviews, and gag reels nobody streams. The breakdowns so good they got cut, or so obscure they never trended, and stay to the end. Because the best one of all is a blooper you have watched 100 times without ever knowing it was a mistake. Let's start with the breakdowns that never even made it onto an official reel. These survive only because a cast member told the story years later. Picture the Season 2 breakout at the psych facility. The same fight that gave us that infamous superpowered appendage fans named the Love Sausage. The blocking called for Mother's Milk to wrestle the thing. But Laz Alonso found the staging too overwhelmingly absurd to carry alone. So Tomer Capone stepped in, fully committing to Frenchie's unhinged energy. And on the take, he leaned down and took a literal bite out of the massive practical prop. The room detonated. The tension shattered. The showrunners decided the bite was a step too far even for this show, so it never aired. And it survives only as a story told at a convention panel. It is the perfect place to start, because it is exactly the kind of moment the algorithm will never serve you. Then there is the scene that nearly killed Jesse T Usher, not with violence, but with laughter. A-Train is in a medically induced coma, and Butcher is supposed to stand over the bed and make one casually cruel remark about his hair product. But Karl Urban refused to say it the same way twice. Every take he invented a new shampoo. L'Oreal for kids strawberry milkshake, strawberry cheesecake, strawberry smoothie. And Usher, required to lie perfectly still and breathless as a coma patient, caught a fit of the giggles he could not stop. He essentially died of laughter on that bed for 5 straight minutes, while Urban relentlessly kept going. And sometimes it takes only 2 words. In a scene shilling one of the company's in-universe taco bowls, Chace Crawford had to look at the camera and say, "Muy delicioso." That is it. But his delivery was so astonishingly vacant, so perfectly, earnestly stupid, that by the cast's unanimous account, it derailed the entire day's shooting. They will tell you Crawford is the single hardest actor on that set to share a scene with, because nobody plays an oblivious idiot more convincingly. The next category is the show's own props and costumes turning traitor. Homelander's suit has those enormous golden eagle heads mounted on the shoulders, built to make him look imposing and impossibly American. The problem is, Anthony Starr has to act in real narrow spaces. So again and again, across the first 2 seasons, he would lean in to deliver some quiet, terrifying threat, or sweep dramatically out of a room, and one of those golden eagles would violently snag on a doorframe and yank the most powerful being on the planet straight backward. The menace evaporates instantly. He just curses. Karl Urban earns his second spot here. He finishes a brutal tactical shootout in the woods, hits his final heroic mark, and holds his rifle aloft with a steely, lethal stare. Then he notices a single autumn leaf has stuck itself to the barrel of his gun. He does not break. He does not call cut. He holds the murderous glare, slowly crosses his eyes to look down the barrel at the leaf, and just silently mugs for the camera. A continuity error turned into a deadpan masterclass. Even Soldier Boy is not safe. In a gritty mid-century flashback, Jensen Ackles has to take one hard macho swig of a drink to sell pure old-school toughness. The liquid catches wrong in his throat, and he sprays it straight out, mid-take, then dissolves into a helpless, choking laugh. The most performatively manly character on the show, undone by the basic act of swallowing. We are about halfway, and if you are enjoying the dig, take 1 second to subscribe. It genuinely helps. Karl Urban once admitted, right in the middle of a ruined take, that the only real reason he is there is to have a good blooper reel. So in his honor, let's keep going. Some breakdowns have nothing to do with acting. Sometimes the real world simply wanders onto the set. Jesse T Usher and Colby Minifie are filming a tense, high-volume corporate argument, both projecting panic and authority in a cramped space. Then a large bee flies straight into the gap between their faces. These are 2 people who play characters utterly comfortable around mass violence and corporate terror. and they both instantly abandon the scene, swatting and retreating like anyone else fleeing a bee. You can fake a reaction to a CGI monster all day, but a real insect gets a real answer. And the punchline that closed an entire season's reel belongs to a bulldog. Karl Urban is filming a tender, long-awaited moment with Terror, Butcher's beloved dog, trying to build real warmth on camera. The dog, working entirely on his own schedule, ignores every bit of blocking, turns slightly away, and loudly relieves himself on the set floor. Urban can only stop and watch and accept that the moment is gone. Then there is the cast's secret weapon, the improvised rabbit hole, where a flubbed line becomes something far stranger. Jack Quaid loses his grip on a stretch of rapid exposition while handling food on set. Instead of resetting, he turns to a background crew member and, with total sincerity, says, "I just want to make you aware that herpes is forever. Do you want quinoa?" Then, without missing a beat, "I don't want quinoa. Does it have herpes on it?" Yeah, now it does. The director has no choice but to cut as the whole crew loses it off camera. Quaid is also on the receiving end of the single most surgical strike in the whole catalog. In Season 4, Huey visits his ailing father in the hospital, a heavy, tender, grief-soaked scene. Quaid approaches the bed and earnestly asks about the little medical cup his dad is sipping from, and Simon Pegg, a lifetime master of deadpan, looks him dead in the eye and says, "It's my own urine," then takes a long, deliberate swig. Quaid instantly shatters.
"It's my own urine."
Doubling over, while Pegg holds a perfectly straight face. And when the show brought in Jeffrey Dean Morgan in Season 4, the expectation was two of the gruffest, most imposing men on television sharing tense, cynical scenes. Instead, a whole segment of the reel is just the two of them, completely unable to get through a single take, dissolving over and over into high-pitched giggling. The chaotic energy of this set infects everyone who walks onto it, which brings us to the man whose mask slips most gloriously of all, because nobody on this show breaks funnier than its resident god. Yes, this is the milk jug clip you already know, and it earns its fame. Homelander's deeply unsettling obsession with milk requires Anthony Starr to menacingly chug from a heavy jug while radiating pure, silent menace. The problem is purely physical. You cannot aggressively guzzle cold milk from a wide jug without wearing some of it. It spills down his chin and onto the iconic suit, and the most terrifying being alive instantly collapses into high, helpless giggling. He simply cannot pull back. He fares no better with words. Hosting a huge, ego-stroking event meant to cement his control, Starr sweeps his arm out to introduce his prized son with booming, terrifying charisma, turns, and his mind goes utterly blank. He drops the whole act and blurts, in his own accent, "I forgot your name." Then, recovering, "Better than forgetting my son."
Fuck, I forgot your name. Better than forgetting my son.
A god commanding the masses, deflated to a confused man in a rubber suit in half a second. And in one more season 4 take, he has to gravely discuss killing an in-universe news anchor named Cameron Coleman. Except Starr's brain reaches for a more famous Cameron, and he declares, with total conviction, "We killed Cameron Crowe," accidentally taking credit for murdering the acclaimed real-life director instead. When the crew corrects him, he just repeats the name in pure bewilderment, trying to rewire his own brain. Before the best one, a quick cleanup, because a few famous blooper claims about this show are not actually bloopers at all. First, you may have heard that the death of Huey's father was a blooper that accidentally made it into the show. It was not. The urine outtake was real and improvised, but the character's death was a meticulously scripted, devastating plot point. Fans simply blur the viral comedy clip together with the tragic storyline. Second, there is a rumor that Starlight caught herpes from the deep, and that the cast keeps it as an inside joke. Pure fabrication, stitched together from Quaid's random quinoa improv and an unrelated fan theory. It is just an actor making a joke about a salad. And third, the claim that the production committed a continuity blooper over a missing prosthetic on Translucent. That was a practical casting and effects reality, not an on-set mishap, and the anatomy chatter people attached to it is a fan rabbit hole, not a deleted goof. Which brings us to the best blooper this show ever produced, the one you have absolutely seen and never once recognized as a mistake. In the first season, Butcher delivers his defining recruitment speech to Huey, built around the red pill, blue pill metaphor. the philosophical hook that drags Huey into the war against the company. And mid-monologue, Karl Urban's memory simply blanked. He could not remember which pill meant brutal reality and which meant blissful ignorance. But he did not call cut. He did not ask for the line. He stayed in character and barreled straight through it, snarling, "Or you could take the blue pill, or was it the red pill? Anyway, take the other pill." And here is the twist. The showrunners watched the dailies, saw that the genuine confusion fit Butcher's impatient, unhinged personality better than any clean take, and they threw the scripted version away and aired the mistake. That iconic, endlessly quoted speech is, in reality, a man forgetting his own lines on camera. Go back and watch it now, knowing that, and you can see the exact second his eyes search for the word. The warmest set on television made the coldest show on television, and sometimes the accident was simply better than the script. So that is the secret behind the meanest show on TV. A cast that cannot stop laughing and a creator who lets them. Now I want to hear from you. Which break is your favorite? The bite, the milk, the urine, or the pill? Tell me below.